What is up, YouTube? It's Kingfisher745, and for this video we're going to take a look at the Doctor Strange simulator. Now I have to admit, originally I wasn't going to look at these, at least not in a video. I figured I would just briefly mention the challenge, and then show him with his brand new EISO at some point in PvP. In fact, I already had a subscriber squads video all ready to go, but since I did get a few requests on this one, I thought I'd go ahead and take a look at it first. In the early challenges, I don't think that many people needed help, but still, being a completionist, I am going to include them all. Now, when you're watching this video, you're going to basically see me power my way through all these challenges, even with a basic costume. I think the biggest part of this is our setup, so I'm going to go over that in detail. And then along the way, I'll try to give you some extra tips that hopefully help you beat this. So yes, you should definitely watch what I do, but at the same time, for those who don't have the same setup or level 14 Doctor Strange, you'll also want to listen to the extra advice because that could make the difference. So as far as this first challenge, the three mindless ones are bruisers, so using either the default costume, which is a blaster, or the modern costume blaster version will really help you out. I usually start with Strange's level 6, and then from there I single target down a mindless one each time. You'll do this by using his level 1. Now right after this first challenge, you're going to face a blaster Baron Mordo, then a blaster Dr. Voodoo, followed by Damon Hellstrom, who, you guessed it, is also a blaster. So at this point, if you do have the modern Doctor Strange in his tactician costume, then you may want to switch over to that. However, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to stick with the default costume this entire time. One advantage that this will give you is 2 EISO slots. That is, if you have a level 13 Doctor Strange. So since we're on that subject, let me go ahead and tell you exactly how I have them set up. First of all, I had no current ISO 8 in Doctor Strange, at least on his default costume. So what I went ahead and did, especially for this sim, is I socketed him with entirely chaotic ISO 8. So I didn't even specialize in anything, I just went ahead and raised all of his stats. Then after that, I'm using his enchanted and powered ISO 8. This is his character specific EISO, and what it does is grants Bolts of Balthak exploit attrition. That will cause his level 1 to do a lot more damage, and it comes in handy throughout this entire sim. If you don't have it and want to farm it, you can find it in Season 2, Chapter 2, Mission 1. That's going to be in Doctor Strange's Heroic Battle. Then after that, I'm also using the Resonant and Powered ISO 8. This gives him Sympathy, so magic abilities grant a small HP boost. Since all of his abilities are magic based, this will give him back health each time he does any ability. So basically what I'm saying is if you only have one EISO slot, you'll probably want to go with this. Of course, if you're using a tactician costume, then you do have a few more options, including the quick and powered ISO 8. Then when moving on to the augmented ISO 8, that's where you can really get creative. What I did was for his level 1, I placed the ionizing augmented ISO 8. This grants the ability radiation exposure. Then for his level 2, this is a fantastic option if you have it. The rising augmented ISO 8 will grant heal actions used on allies the ability to also add rising up. Rising up could include all the following buffs: focused, fortified, agile, and strengthened. So you could imagine how this would help out Doctor Strange, but also in the following sims when you have team-ups, it's going to boost your other heroes as well. Then on his level 6 I have the Thorned Augmented ISO 8, and this says equipped magic action grants thorns. That really doesn't come in too handy here because most of your opponents are going to be ranged attackers. But hey, this is probably going to be my PvP setup as well, and that could definitely be useful there. Then finally on his Shield of the Seraphim, I do have the Manifesting Augmented ISO 8. This says buff actions used on allies also apply Epiphany. What Epiphany does is guarantees the next hit is a critical hit. So you can imagine how this would be great on Doctor Strange as well as his allies during those team-up sims. Oh, and by the way, since we are fighting Dr. Voodoo, this may be one of the tricky sims for some of you. The reason he can be difficult is because he grants all allies magic warding. That's going to include himself, and what magic warding does is it causes him to be immune to magic effects, and he takes reduced damage from magic attacks. I actually forgot this at first, and so what I would recommend is you don't use your Vapors of Valtor. Instead, just go ahead and either start with a buff, or start with your level 1. If your level 1 does have the ionizing AISO, then you can use that and place radiation exposure on Dr. Voodoo. When he hits you with Doom, you can use Recharge, and like the tooltip said, this will remove it. Then I do have to say our level 6 wasn't entirely useless because it did place thorns on us, and so now Dr. Voodoo is bleeding. So like I just mentioned, we're going to use our level 1, and now Dr. Voodoo will have radiation exposure. It also still does a decent amount of damage. Then next I'm going to go ahead and use a buff and still recharge to get rid of Doom. That's pretty much the fight right there. Just make sure you don't take Doom damage, and then just whittle down Dr. Voodoo with your level 1. So he's going to take a few dots, and then apparently since he's going to try to gain back health with his Staff of Legba, that Thorned AISO really is coming in handy. That does happen to be a melee attack, so he is taking bleeding and hemorrhage. Alright, so at this point we do have him down to 2300 HP, and he does use another Doom Curse. So what I'm going to do is use our healing level 2, and then we'll get off Doom, but next turn no matter what we're just going to finish it with our level 1. I'll admit I was probably a little extra cautious there. I could have taken him down with a Bolt of Balthak, but you know what, there's no time limit and you can take as long as you want. The most important thing is that you finish and you win. I mean, after all, it does take 12 hours for these sim points to come back. So that was actually where I had to end on the first day, but then we waited, and after gaining back 2 sim points, we could go and finish the challenge. So here we are with trial number 4, To Hell and Back. This one's actually going to be a team up against Damon Hellstrom, so you will get Dr. Voodoo as well. I think this one's fairly easy, especially with the added teammate. The only thing that may end up being annoying is Damon's passive, Netheranium Spire. This says 50% chance to nullify magic attacks against all allies. But still, it is going to be a 2-on-1, and Dr. Voodoo is a very good hero. So jumping right into the battle, first up is going to be Dr. Voodoo. If you have the cooperative AISO on his level 6, then you can use his Vodun Crows as a quick action. This is going to place Dark Void and Death Frost on Damon. The only other thing to be aware of is Damon actually does like Burning and Dark Void. While Burning is applied, he'll counter attacks with fire damage, and when he has Dark Void, his attacks will restore health. Still, to be honest with you, I'm not going to stay away from those because we want to set up our level 1, and by that I mean placing as many dots on Damon as we can. The reason of course is because of our character specific EISO, which allows us to exploit attrition. Dr. Voodoo also has exploit attrition on his level 2. So yeah, basically we end up setting Damon up, and then we are going to use that level 2. Unfortunately it doesn't do any damage, but it does give us back health. Then I wasn't quite sure if Damon was within range, but after checking our level 1, it does look like the Bolts of Balthak is going to easily finish him off. So basically with this team up, you can actually turn his own dots against him with exploit attrition. Now that's going to be 4 trials down and 1 to go. In this final challenge, you're going to be facing a Tactician Modern Doctor Strange. You're going to be given Doctor Strange, Dr. Voodoo, and Damon. So no matter what, this Tactician is definitely going to get extra turns. Honestly, since there's nothing you can do about it, you might as well just all-out attack him. Just go ahead and let him have his tactical maneuvers. Now I do understand that some of you have been having problems with this one, and part of the reason is because Doctor Strange does have a pretty nice setup going. First of all, he does have Defender. Allies have a chance to be protected by a magical shield before an enemy attack. His level 1 and level 6 also apply Bane. Then he has his Mystic Funnel. This says he gains a stack of Siphon Power when Power of Principalities is gained. Siphon Power increases attack, defense, accuracy, and evasion up to 5 times. So that's actually the new EISO, the one we're going for. But then on top of that, he gains back health when he uses magic abilities, and he also has Sorcerer Supreme. But still, we do outnumber him 3 to 1, so we're going to try to stack as many debuffs as we can. I decided to start with our level 1 from Dr. Voodoo, that way we can place Bane and Soulfire. Now he should be taking more damage from magic attacks, and that's of course going to help out our entire team. Then next, with our Doctor Strange, I'm going to use our level 1, and that'll place Radiation Exposure. It also does a very nice amount of damage, so we'll take that as an opening hit. Then with Damon Hellstrom, I'm going to use his level 2 Cloaked in Shadows. The reason for this is because it gives us Skittering Darkness, so a 50% chance to avoid attacks, and it makes our attacks stealthy. Not that that really matters in this case. Now at this point you see all that health that Doctor Strange gains back. That we do not like. So I'm going to show you how you take care of it, and that's pretty much what I found to be the key to this fight. So first we're going to try to redo all of our hard work. We'll start with the Vodun Crows from Dr. Voodoo. This will later help set up his level 2 and also help out Doctor Strange's level 1. And unfortunately it gives him tactical maneuvers. But at least he'll take a bunch of dot damage, and then on top of that, we find that Damon Hellstrom ends up absorbing a lot of his magic attacks. So at least our team isn't really taking damage. Then we also do get a brimstone counter. At this point, Doctor Strange does gain a quick action, so we can use his level 2 or his level 9. Or even his level 6, I didn't want to leave that out. I end up going for his level 2, and then we're going to follow it up by using his level 1 Bolts of Bolthak. Let's see if we can get another 7,000 plus damage hit. 3 of those and this guy is toast. And it does break 7,000, but it's no crit. Now on Damon's turn, I'm going to show you how you can shut down his healing. Use his succubus, La Petite Morte. And what this does is it places Despair, and so he'll no longer be healed. After that, I found this fight to be fairly straightforward, especially since we kept getting Netheranium Spire. But still, just load the enemy Doctor Strange up on dots, and then do as much damage as you can, preferably with your exploit attrition attacks like Dr. Voodoo's Staff of Legba. There you see a nearly 12,000 damage hit, and it heals us. After that, Doctor Strange is finished by dots. So that's going to be the end of the Doctor Strange Simulator Challenge. Our reward is going to be the Siphoning Empowered ISO 8, which grants him Mystic Funnel. Gain a stack of Siphon Power when Power of the Principalities is gained. Also, Siphon Power increases attack, defense, accuracy, and evasion. And this stacks up to 5 times. So there it is, and we'll have to use that in a future video, but as for now, this is going to be the end of this one. I really do hope this helped, and I want to thank you all for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe. And until next time, good luck and take care.